Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of MyPaganPal Crafts and Such, the channel where you can find pagan related crafts and such. I'm Bella Rosa, that's my magical name in case you're wondering, and for today's episode I'm going to be dealing with the and such part of the show, which is pagan pillow talk. Just me talking about my experiences as a witch. So for the first episode I thought I would share with you what it was like for me growing up pagan. So here we go. Like a lot of other pagans and witches out there, I came from a different religious background. I was raised a Roman Catholic officially, and I say officially because I was baptized, I received my Holy Communion, I went to CCD classes. So on the outside, everything would suggest that my mom was raising her two children, my older brother and myself, Roman Catholics, officially. Unofficially, the influence of paganism had been rooted in our household since about the time I was 3. That was about the time my mom decided that she was comfortable enough to expose her children to paganism and start teaching them not just about traditional paganism, but also about other religious beliefs. It was important for her to expose her children to many different religious concepts and religions in general. Paganism didn't just pop out of nowhere for my mom. For her, it came from her great aunts, my great aunts. So cliche, right? Basically, the story goes is when she was a kid, her mom, whenever she felt like she was being hexed or someone was thinking badly of her or someone had been cursing her, any of that bad juju, she would pack up the kids and go drive to her aunt's house, and they would perform their magic on her. And they were just these two little old stregas from the old country. And sometimes my mom and her siblings were allowed into the house. Sometimes they weren't. Sometimes they were told to close their eyes while the ritual was being done. Really, the seed of magic, it really, for my mom, started with those two stregas, my great aunts. And that resonated in my mom, and she decided to follow that gut feeling in her that said, you're a witch. She followed it. That's just how she decided to explore her witchy side. So my mom, for a short time, kept up with teaching her children Roman Catholicism, and we continued going to CCD classes, and she continued teaching us and reading to us about paganism, but it had nothing really to do with, being in the broom closet or being out of the broom closet. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with how was she going to raise these two kids pagan. And she thought the best way to do this was to just continue with her teachings as well as her family's teachings of Roman Catholicism. And I commend her efforts for just doing those two things, because it was not easy for an Italian woman back in those days to do that. And on that note, if you're in the broom closet, or if you have one foot in the broom closet and one foot out of the broom closet, if you're out of the broom closet, whichever stage you're in, I absolutely commend you, because all those stages are not easy. Being in the broom closet, you're hiding your faith behind closed doors, and you have good reason to do it. You may fear for the safety of yourself, for your family. You may be ridiculed. You don't know people. I grew up near New Paltz, and that's the second most dense population of witches in the United States. So being a witch is not a strange concept. However, if you live in a place that it is a very odd and strange concept and a dangerous one, well then coming out of the broom closet may not be an option for you. And I absolutely commend you for practicing your beliefs in whichever way you prefer. It's not easy having one foot in and one foot out like my mom did. She was more concerned about raising her kids, giving them the benefit of both religions at the time. And if you're completely out of the broom closet, that's not easy either. You may have tons of people asking you questions. You may be shunned away from society. All three stages are just difficult. I absolutely understand it, and I absolutely commend everybody who is out there. You're doing a great job, so keep it up. So my mom, for a short time, kept up with teaching her children Roman Catholicism, and we continued going to CCD classes, and she continued teaching us and reading to us about paganism. We practiced our spirituality. We celebrated the Sabbaths right along with other holidays, Yule and Christmas, Ostara and Easter. It was all one beautiful blend of cultural happiness. Until the day came when I decided that Roman Catholicism was not for me. It was after my first Holy Communion, so I was around 7 or 8. I'm not 100% on that. And I remember going into the car and telling my mom, looking up, little old me saying, "Ma, this just isn't for me." She knew it was coming. She was like, I understand. And we just drove home. And I never went back. That's the end of CCD classes. After that, we continued life as a normal witchy family. Though we were witches, my mom, she just wanted to make sure that we were sure about being pagan. And she did this by exposing us to as many different concepts of religion as absolutely possible. Not just by reading to us. She went out and found practitioners and leaders of different religions and invited them into our home to sit and talk to us about their religion. And there were just people coming in and out of the house all the time. Jewish people, Christians. There was a Buddhist couple once. Tons of people coming in and out of the house with their just knowledge, just tons of knowledge. And as children, we just drank it up. And between all that, my mom found her best friend, witchy buddy, and she quickly became a part of the family. She still is a part of the family. Shout out to Aunt Franny. Hey! And she just became such a great influence in my mom's life because Strega is in our blood, but it's the old country, just completely covered by years and years of Roman Catholicism and other family traditions. When she found her best friend, witchy buddy, she blossomed. Not only was she sharing in her experiences, her witchy experiences with another witch, but she also got to expose her kids to another witch, which was very exciting for us. And as a result, it also fueled her children's religious experiences as little pagans. Growing up in a pagan home is just like growing up in any other loving home. We had family night, family movie night, family game night, sleepovers, and I had every Barbie doll on the planet. So some differences, I would assume, we played psychic games. I cannot believe I'm telling you guys this. For example, we played the jelly bean game. So the jelly bean game is basically where you take different colors of jelly beans, and my mom would hold them and ask us to try to clear our minds and try to let it come to you. And if we won, we got the treat. If we got it wrong, she got the treat. She got a lot of them right. But my point is, these psychic games were something that she did because she saw that her kids were intuitive, and she didn't just avoid it. She just dove right into it. She read about it. She taught herself about it. She then taught us about it, and it just blossomed into something straight through adolescence into adulthood. We still play the game today. When I came home from college one year, I think it was Beltane. We're in the garden, we're in the circle, I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. We went to go take a break, and we decided, let's play some psychic games. This was a part of everyday pagan life for us. We played psychic games with each other. Anybody who went to college or is going to college now, you understand how just absolutely crazy college is. It's all consuming. Life becomes about college. So that's where I was at the time. At this point, we don't have cards or jelly beans or anything. I'm old enough now not to use that. So we just try to just send each other messages. And of course, she's winning like all of them because that's just how she is. When you get one wrong, it becomes the other person's turn. It became my turn, and I closed my eyes, and I'm not getting anything. I am just blank. I'm not getting anything, and I just kept telling her. She's like, "Are you sure? What about now?" "No, I don't feel anything. I'm not getting an intuitive feeling about anything, nothing." And then suddenly I had this bright yellow color just burst in my head. It was so overwhelming. I opened my eyes and I was like, yellow. She was like right there in my face with her beady eyes, like, "Come on, you can do it. This is what I'm thinking." These are the experiences I had growing up as as a pagan. This is my life. This was my life. If you're a mother or a father raising pagan children and you notice your children are psychically intuitive, run with it. For me, it really helped me understand more about myself growing up. And you know what? Play the jelly bean game, because not only are you having one-on-one time with your child, but you are affording them the opportunity to explore who they really are, and you get to learn new things about your own child. Plus, they get a sweet treat, so why not try it? Thank you, Mom. So, growing up pagan, I'm going to say, is pretty fun, but I'm going to tell you there were a few not so great times. There was this little girl that I used to like to play with. One day I went over to her house and I walked up the stairs to her apartment, knocked on the door. Her mom answers, "Yes, what do you want?" And I asked her, "Well, can so-and-so come out and play?" "No, she can't." "Well, why?" "She's not allowed to play with you anymore." "What? Why?" "You're a witch!" And she just shut the door right in my face. No joke, you guys. I started crying. I took my bike home and I just told my mom exactly what happened. And mostly, I think she was prepared. She knew that one day one of her kids were going to have one of these problems. She sat me down and said, "Honey, you know, sometimes people are not going to like you because of your religious beliefs. People were not going to like me, not just because of me, not just because they didn't just like me, but because that word, witch or pagan, I was going to keep other people from liking me." As a child, as a little girl, I was just like, what? People do that? Because up to that point, it was just so much love and acceptance coming in and out of the house from all these different religious beliefs. As a kid, you're just like, wow, that's so awesome. But then I ran into someone who was like, "You're a witch. You can't hang out with my kid anymore." That to me was just like so foreign. That's the day when I found out that titles are really important to people. Sometimes growing up pagan was sad, but I'm telling you, these experiences were just few and far between. There may be people out there who come across this every single day. Don't let someone try to steer you off a path that you know to be true in your heart. Another story, once I was in junior high school and an art teacher had taken notice. She wanted to see more of my artwork. And I thought this is a great idea because I really wanted to learn how to draw people in a more realistic manner. And I was going through this phase where I was drawing fairies in like designer clothes. And that was just my thing. I showed her my drawings thinking she could help me. Like, how do I make this look more like a real nose and not just like a little squiggly line? Like, can you help me? Now, I honestly thought this woman was going to truly help me, and the complete opposite thing happened. The next thing I knew, my mom is getting called into the principal's office to talk with this art teacher, and I'm sitting outside, and all I hear with my mom saying, "My children, ba ba ba, our religious beliefs, ba 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 ba. You know, how could you be so narrow-minded, ba 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 ba." Woo! She was angry. This woman had this whole concept of there was some strange cult thing going around in her house. Whatever it was not good. But I do remember seeing her again and giving her that, you know, you messed up, didn't you? You know you messed up, right? Right? Good. Okay, I'm going to go sit down now. You know, I was annoyed. And I think as a teacher, she probably thought she was doing the best for, you know, me. She thought that my little fairy drawings were dangerous or something. I really don't know, but I tried to think maybe it came from a good place, you know? You don't just deliberately go out of the way to do something like that, right? I mean, she was an art teacher, an open-minded person, right? My mom is an artist, you know, and I grew up around a lot of artsy people. For her to have done that, I just thought it was just like, what? I thought you were going to help me with my drawings, not, you know, call the brigade in and say that there was a problem with the way my mom was raising us because I was drawing fairies. So that was just totally awkward. By the time I got to high school, I rocked my pentacle in my teenage years. It was just a part of my stuff, you know, grab my school book, put on my shoes, put my pentacle on, run, go get the bus. You know, that was just a part of my everyday experiences. And I never had a problem with it in high school. However, when my brother was 5 years older than me, and he went to school, there was this huge issue going on. There was a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, a lot of debates going on because his pentacle. It was just a constant back and forth between my mom and the school and other parents who were also having such issues. So it would go something like, well, your kid can't wear a pentacle to school. And then my mom would be like, well, why can those kids wear a cross and those kids wear the Star of David? And then it developed into, well, your kid can wear it, but they got to put it on the inside of their shirts. And then my mom would say, well, everybody else has to put it on the inside of their shirts. This kind of thing just went on for a long time. And it was not just my mom, like I said, it was also other parents with their own religious beliefs. That was a big thing. But I guess they just won the war, because by the time I got to high school, I never had a problem with it, ever. So far, I've told you 2 stories that came from other people and their influences. But we also had our own arguments in our own house. And it happened around the time I moved to a new house in the middle of the school year. I remember being in the kitchen with my mom, and we were having this argument. Why did we move here? Well, this is our home now. Well, I want to go back to our old house. You know, typical teenager girl drama. You know, if you're raising a daughter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I remember I looked down and I saw the pattern of the floor and the side of the cabinet, and my cat just kind of passing me in such a way. And my mom noticed something changed. I went from the why in my life, blah, 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 kind of teenager whininess to like, just had like an epiphany. So she picked up on that like immediately. And I was like, oh my God, you know, I saw this in a dream like a year ago. I guess that means I was supposed to be in this house. And I walked off and I came back and she was laughing and I was laughing. And these are the kind of arguments I had growing up as a pagan child, as a pagan teenager, as a pagan in general. Just cannot believe I told you guys that. By the time I went to college, my mom was already a high priestess. She was involved in a really bad accident and she was unable to move a lot. So she fueled her mind with knowledge. Through that, she was able to expand more religiously in her spiritual practices. We were raised eclectic pagans, and every time I made a trip home, there was just more and more and more people growing in our circle. And my mom always allowed people to invite whatever god and goddess or whomever they'd worshipped into the circle. And that openness always just invited more openness and more friendly people. And even today, it just keeps growing. The circle just keeps growing. And that's the first segment of Pagan Pillow Talk, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. If you like what you saw here today and you want to be kept up to date on the latest episodes, then become a Pagan Pal. Subscribe now, like up this video, and I'll see you next time for another episode of My Pagan Pal Crafts and such. Bye.